All right, I hate to make this video because you know me, been around this channel, or probably haven't really been around this channel, but my main channel, I say it all the time. I like Asmongold, but I think this is the dumbest take he had by far. Like, I have to make a video on this because I'm like, how can you think this? Like, I look at children's education like as a big deal. It's very important. You know, my sister lives with me. She has, her two kids. I'm around my two of my nieces and nephews, and I want them to have the best education possible. So when he talks about this and the way he talks about it, it kind of bugged me a little, but I'm going to show you a few clips of, his video talking about this. So actually, let's get into it.
Right now, 40% of fourth graders can't read. We're witnessing the collapse
40% of fourth graders can't read? What?
of the American education system.
I teach 8th grade history, and I have 110-ish students. Two of
8th grade history.
them are reading on grade level.
So out of 100 students, 2 of them know how to read?
Right now. 18 of them are at a kindergarten level. 55.
See, what we need to do, I'm going to explain the real problem here. What we need to do is we need to get these blue, purple, green, fucking haired Karens out of education, and we need to get the guys that are in the military. When you retire from the military, they need to have a pipeline from you being in the Navy SEALs to you being a high school history teacher. And I guarantee you, they're going to learn how to read. Absolutely. Yeah, you bring in veterans and you say, listen here, you little shit. You're going to learn how to do this. You're going to know everything about World War II, and that's going to be it. Yeah, Navy SEAL PE teachers? Exactly. That's the big problem.
Okay, that's not going to help. That's not going to help anything because, these kids, they have, blue-haired, green-haired parents and stuff. Once these military guys come in and start acting like that, you already know it's going to cause all kinds of problems. They're going to be trying to get them fired from their job and all this other stuff. And there's another problem with this, but let's look at the next clip, okay?
Okay, this is becoming a genuinely concerning issue. As a substitute teacher, I am encountering a really concerning number of students who truly do not see any value in learning because as one of the 4th and 5th graders that I was teaching the other day asked me, why do I need to know any of this if a computer or AI can do it for me?
That's right. That's right.
A little girl didn't want to learn how to read because why would she need to when she could have the computer read it to her?
Absolutely.
Or when she could just take a picture of her math problem and have the AI do it for her. This is a legitimate issue.
Well, here's the real legitimate issue. It's because I bet you don't really have an answer for her. You probably don't have a real answer for why do you need to learn all of this bullshit in order to, go on with life if you can just have a computer do this. They probably don't have a real answer for it. And the fact is that, why do you really need to know long division? The answer, you don't. You can just do it with your phone. Everybody has a phone. Every phone has a calculator. There's never going to be a universe where 99% of people will ever actually have to make a decision that requires a long-form division that a calculator isn't immediately accessible to. And I think that's the big issue. It's that they can't change with the times, and so they keep trying to teach kids. I remember a good example of this was for us, it was cursive. We used to have to learn how to write cursive. You know what I did? Nothing. I never learned cursive. It was stupid. Why would I learn cursive? These teachers, if they were so smart, they wouldn't be teachers, okay? So I never took them seriously at all. And I think that for a lot of these different, especially math things, why does somebody really need to know the answer to this? And I think that's the problem, is that they don't have a good answer for why.
Not have full
Asmongold, I have a solution. I have an answer to it. You won't be able to use that everywhere. Look, hopefully I can find the clip. I can't remember if it was like on a Tommy G video. It was on somebody's video and they're talking to a military guy. If anybody knows where to find this clip, but the person was talking to the military guy and he was explaining and talking about how this young person in the military was kind of giving him back and forth. He asked why, because they had to do something, but they had to use like a hand map. They had to navigate whatever they had to do by themselves without a GPS, without technology. And the military guy, you know, he explained to him, so what happens if you're out there and like it's a EMP or like, you know, the tech is unavailable to you. And the young guy looked at him. He was like, oh, now I understand. You know, you're not always going to have tech out there. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, he's saying military people should come and teach these kids. Well, they're going to be like, yeah, no tech. So why bring in the military guys? So it's like, bro, tech is a problem in school these days, and for these kids it is. Like, they need critical thinking. They need to be able to think on their own, and they're not. They can't do that, and that's the problem. Oh man, it's just like, I agree with Asmongold about like chemistry, algebra, and all this other like math stuff. And I'm not just saying that because I sucked at it. No, I didn't suck at it. I'm dyslexic, and if you know anything about dyslexia, you have different skill set, let's say, and I really excelled at math. I really excelled at math, like algebra and all the other stuff, calculus and all that. But he's right. Like, when do you ever really use that? Maybe if you get into a certain profession, yeah, you probably use it. I used a little bit of math, but it's like simple math when I worked in the electrical field. You know, I didn't do algebra, really. I mean, you had to do a little bit of algebra and stuff like that, but it wasn't much of it. But the point is, like, you know, these tablets, this technology, it's not helping. Okay, it's not helping. We need to get these kids to be able to think on their own, not to use Chat GPT and Grok and all this other stuff. And I do agree with him, like preparing our kids for the future. But how about they can use laptops, tablets, and even at home until they're like, I mean, not until, but till they're like in their teens. Let's say like junior high or high school. I would even push it to like high school. You know, you can have tablet, your phone, and use all that. But until that point, they need to learn the basics. Learn how to read. Learn how to write. You know, learn a little bit of math or something. You know, these kids need to know something. And what Asmongold is talking about is, now they're not going to learn anything because their phones and computers can do it all. Now tell me, you can leave it in the comments or whatever, tell me if you know how to do a little bit of math, if you know how to read and write. You know, yes, you probably can do it, but the way these kids are growing, they're not going to be able to do that. And they're not always going to have their phones in there. I mean, unless you know, stay in your house all the time. You know, you stay in their house. If they stay in their house all the time, that's different, you know. But, you know, working out in like out in there in the field, electrical field and stuff, I couldn't always just grab my phone to try to, you know, figure out how far, like, to do math equations or something. Couldn't do it. Had to do it up here real quick. This is a real problem. This is why I have a real issue him talking about it like this, because these kids need to know something a little bit, like just a little bit or something. They can't even read or write. They probably don't even know what 2 plus 2 is. It's just wild. But here's the last clip.
Not have fully developed reasoning abilities. Their brains just aren't developed. We can just take a look at the subreddit Kids Are Stupid to see
Kids are fucking stupid. I should go to the subreddit. I should dedicate an entire stream to just calling kids retarded.
proof that kids do not
like
think
that.
long term. They don't
No.
have the mental capacity to fully think through their actions. So how is a teacher supposed to convince a student to learn how to read when that student believes that the AI can just read for them? How
We have to let these kids develop. And what Asm Gold is asking for is not to let them develop, but let AI do everything for them. Now, I'm going to leave a link to her video, and I'm pretty sure it won't be too hard to find Asmon's Gold video. But that said, I'm with him on like 99% of his takes. But this one, I couldn't let it slide. I know this video probably won't get anywhere, but if you wouldn't mind, if you agree with me, if you don't. If you do, leave a like. If you don't, leave a dislike. And I wouldn't mind if you shared this video. And ring that bell for more videos. I'm out, man.